Hello there, my name is Mas, and today I want to introduce you to Textures Folders add-on, which is an add-on I created to make my texturing life easier. So I have this scene here that I created in the previous live stream. Yes, we do live streams here, and you can join us when you have time. Yeah, this is what we did in the previous live stream, and I've removed most of the textures that we did in the live stream, but this is what we had. So this is what we created in the live stream. So we want to redo the texturing using exclusively the texturing add-on, just to demonstrate how you can use it. And of course, you can download the add-on from my Blender Market page. You can see here with other add-ons that I've created. So let's go into it and just to show you how you can use it. So I have a folder here called resources, and contains all my textures, just image textures like this, a bunch of, and you can see there are quite a lot of folders with a lot of textures in them. So the texture folder add-on just helps you organize your textures and have them accessible to you in Blender much easier than just having them in a folder like this. And I also have some PBR textures. You can see I have a bunch of bricks, and my naming of the folders is not the best, so it can be very hard to know what texture you want to import, especially if you're naming them in the same way that I'm naming them here. But with the textures folder, you don't really have to worry about that. The textures folder can easily detect the textures for you and import them much easier. So let's see how we can do this. So let's start by importing in some PBR textures. So you can see I have PBR textures in the PBR folder, and I have different categories like this. So let's go into the textures folder. Our collection process is easier. You just go to preferences, edit, and then install add-on, and then you should be able to install it. It will be on the right panel here. So if you want to load in PBRs, we can just go to link new texture folder and go to our resources, PBRs, and let's go to the bricks and load in all the bricks link, and you get a success. The add-on is capable of loading PBR textures and non-PBR textures, but you have to tell it that you want to load PBR textures. As you can see, we don't have anything here because I haven't told the add-on that I want to load PBR, only the PBR textures. So I can just hit load as PBR, and now you can see all my PBR textures in that folder have been imported. So I can select this and can just hit create PBR material, and it should set up all the PBR materials for me. So it has set it up correctly, but because this object has no UV maps or has not correctly UV unwrapped, that's why you see that the textures are being stretched. Now I also added a way to change the texture coordinate of your textures. So right now we are using UV, so I just want to change this to object, and that should use object coordinate mapping. We should look fine without doing any UV unwrapping like that. And you can see that's what we get. I think I can just reuse it on this as well. So that's our brick material, and I can do the same for this. This time, instead of using this, let's try this one, create PBR. The mapping is set at UV, as you can see there. Let's change this to object, and that should update the materials like so. So we want to make this more complicated, so I can also choose to switch out of this PBR folder and then load in another folder. And let's say instead of using PBR, let's go to have some nice textures in the walls. So I can just link that, and because these are not PBR, I have to uncheck the load as PBR folders so that I can see the textures in that folder. Now you can see what I have. So you can see this texture is a bit plain for my liking. Let me first isolate this for a second so that things are loading much faster. You can see how this looks. It's too plain. So what I can do is just mix it, blend it with other materials, so I can get this here. And because I've already set up this PBR, I can use the import as texture node, and that will import this texture that I have selected, and I can even preview it using Ctrl+Shift+click. I can see how that looks. I may need to use object mapping, and now I can blend these textures blended with this, and on to that. Maybe we can set this to multiply, and I can see now our textures has got some detail to it. If we preview this, you can see now we get something like that. If I don't like this texture, I can simply use the switch selected texture to a different texture. So let me use this switch selected. Let's see, or we can try this, or we can just get this. I can even go to the PBR material here, which is this here. So it uses this brick material for that. but I can also switch it out, because this works for any selected node. So I can just switch it out with let's load in a different text folder we have. Maybe let's try that tile, switch out, and we get something like that. And so you can do quite a lot with this. I can set up another material here. So if I have an image like this is not a PBR material, or this is not a PBR shader, I can just select this object. Let me first isolate it for a second. And even if this is just a single image, I can just create a PBR from it. This is just going to set up some quick fake PBR. So it's just going to use the same image and use it as the base color and the roughness, like that. I think I might want to change this from UV to object, so we get something like that. And you can see this is already looking good, but I want the roughness to be more detailed, so I can load in my roughness folder, because I have a roughness grind map folder like this, link it, and you can see the kind of grind maps I have in there. So I can select any of these, maybe this, and I import it as a texture node. I should add it to my folder here, and I can preview this for a second. It's too large, so I'm just going to add some texture coordinate mapping, scale it up, blend this with this. I want it to be the roughness, but it's also been fed into the color. I just want this to be the base color. If you look closely, now our roughness looks much better, and I can even switch it out for a different one. This just gives you a better way to experiment with your texturing. So I can switch this out, and you can see, I think that's actually looking much better. I can even just, let's say, duplicate this like that. I can let's see, switch it out with let's try this. Let me also add a color ramp here, so you can see how this makes your texturing much fun and much easier. So I'm going to blend this with this, because I want this to act as some kind of dart mask, so you can I don't know, maybe paint or something, whatever, like that. And now we can use this as the base color. So we are using this, you can see what we get. So we're using this as the mask for our dart, but we can switch it out and test out how different masks will look. So you can see those are scratches. Have these. I want to switch. You can see it simply makes, let me just give this a bluish color so that you can see what's going on. It just makes testing out different scenes much better, much easier. So maybe that's you know what, I actually like this. I really like the look of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my asset library, which is also another add-on I have. Again, you can also get it from the Blender Market page. I'll be leaving all the links in the description. Now I'm just going to save this as a material so that I can reuse it later, because I think I like how it looks. So I'm just going to add it to my asset library. I think I should add it to my, let me just leave it to add it to the buildings pack, and I will just render a preview of the material and save that. Now you can see what we have. So I can go on and make more materials like this for different assets, and that's how you can use the textures folder to simplify your texturing life.